Good. I'm Tony Allan from the University of London, here in Delhi on the 70th anniversary of partition, and to mark the long association of LSE with Indian science and Indian politics. On the issue of what India should do with its water resources to be as secure as it has proved to be in the past 70 years, in which it has been more secure because famines have been less obvious than they were in the previous era of the British Empire, for instance. So good things have been happening, and of course they did increase, farmers and engineers and economists and business people did increase the food production and the yields of wheat and corn by 5 times between 1950 and 1990. So remarkable things have happened. They had to, because India's population has increased from 300 million or so in 1947 to 1.3-ish billion now, so more than a four times increase, and therefore that's very good. But there's going to be some more increase, and therefore there's some other good things have got to happen in terms of productivity. In order to do that, we need the farmers on side, because farmers consume 92% of the water that India has. 92%. If they're not at meetings to tell us what they're going to do to help India succeed, then the meeting perhaps doesn't have quite the right people there. Farmers are going to deliver or not. They're going to deliver because they get the right prices for their food, or they get the right support from governments, or they get consideration from the private sector and the corporates in terms of markets and so on. So farmers are very important. So since consumers have gone up 4 times or more, and they're going to go up by another 3 or 4 billion, we need consumers to understand that India needs to have water resources, but it needs managers, the farmers, to do it correctly. And they will only do that if they have decent livelihoods. It's a high-risk livelihood. I'm a scientist. I've had 1 or 2 risks in my career which caused me to think, what's going to happen in 5 years' time? And that was when I was asked to consider retirement when I was 45, because there was a government policy to downsize the size of academic staff. But a farmer faces those sort of worries and anxieties and risks in 3 months. I mean, every year there are other things that come from the market or from the environment in terms of floods and droughts and so on, that their livelihoods are utterly dependent on their capacity to stand those problems. And if there aren't banks to help them in those situations or government funds to help them, then India will not be able to feed itself. Clearly it's been doing something right over the past 70 years, because in a way in which perhaps was unintended, it has in fact got there. But in future, if the politicians are going to be able to do the right thing, and that is help the farmers be able to steward the water, because of this extra demand on the water resource, the hydrologists and people like myself, water resource specialists, saying, hey, it's different from any time in the past. You're already pushing your resources very hard. You've discovered you can increase their productivity, but you've still got to come up with extra ways, and one of the ways is by using less water in those areas where you've already destroyed the resource or are giving it such a hard time in Punjab, which is a food basket of India as well as elsewhere in the world. So those are things that we need to get across, that the farmers need to be given consideration by consumers, because they can give the political space to the politicians to do the right